Camille Nettles is Associate Creative Director of the Weather Channel. This is the story of how she has successfully blended art and commerce.
So growing up, like being the daughter of a sculptor and an artist, I always had a creative flair, a creative knack. Picked up pretty much any kind of art, hobby, anything I could get my hands on. And you know, when I was with my dad in the studio, he was always teaching me new things, teaching me how to draw, teaching me how to sculpt, basically just teaching me to like have interests, creative interests. And you know, I really learned a lot of what I know about art from him. Even when I was really young, I didn't really realize it at the time, but like he would teach me art history. Like I knew so much about art history by the time I hit college because our conversations around the dinner table were about, you know, like Picasso and Matisse and Van Gogh. I would say like my foundation as a child really set me, I think, up to succeed. I got to college, I pursued photography. And in pursuing photography, I had to take a computer graphics class. And it was basically like your intro to graphic design. And that's when I kind of realized my love of graphic design. I'd say part of the reason I've progressed so quickly is my own passions, just wanting to, I have kind of this learning agenda, as my boss calls it. I love to learn. I love to try something new. If you throw something at me and I don't know how to do it, I'll figure it out while I'm doing it. And that's really helped me progress really far. And he has been really good about pushing me that way and giving me the opportunity to do something new and to get better and to learn. And so that's why I went from graphic designer to senior designer to ACD in only a matter of like 7 years. You know, the thing with art is it's very visual, but also there's a lot of like emotion and empathy. And like when you make something, you are not only figuring out how to like express yourself, and for some people that's what it's more about. It's more about their self-expression. But sometimes it's about communication. Like you are trying to make something to communicate to other people. Grew up understanding it's not about me, it's about the work. And that's a thing that has always come through. And even in dealing with commerce, it's not about your artistic expression, right? It's about how you can communicate to others. And I definitely miss making things with my hands more. That's a thing that, you know, as a creative professional who's at a screen, at a computer all day, you know, at a certain point, I still have that drive to make things, but I don't want to be trapped behind a screen anymore. So I have a lot of hobbies. I do feel like what I do on a day-to-day does still, even though it's marketing, it's advertising, it does still meet that kind of creative itch that I have. There's a lot of creative problem solving. And so at the end of the day, I feel pretty fulfilled, even if I'm not making something necessarily super artistic. If I had means, like if money were no object, then I honestly may not do any one thing. I think I would have a very hard time sticking, just because I'm a creative person that always thrives in trying new things and doing this, that, and the other. I'd probably become like the Donald Glover of art. Like actor, musician, producer. I think I would just start dipping my hands into all kinds of things. The starving artist persona, I think, it's like what everybody thinks of when you think artist, you know, that they're not successful and that it's a really hard way to get by. And it definitely is. You know, there are people who have proven it wrong, like, you know, people who are super successful in the art world. And probably social media has only made that even more possible. Growing up in a small town and kind of having that desire to get out, get to a bigger city where things are happening a little bit more. So I always sort of thought about school and college and what I want to do for a living as like my path out and my path to sort of be successful and make it my way out of a small town and find that stability that I knew I could make for myself. But I knew that there was a way to still do that while also like staying within the creative field and harnessing my passion. The area of advertising and marketing really makes a lot of sense for my brain, and I actually really love the work. So I think for me, it just, it allowed me to find that right path, and that gave me stability. The more that students can try to hone all of the smaller elements themselves, it really helps you understand the full vision. Like I remember early 20s when I worked restaurant jobs, we had this restaurant manager, who had literally worked every single job inside of the restaurant. By the time he was in his 40s, he was like, I've been the dishwasher, I've been the line cook, etc. Best manager I ever had, because he knew how to do every job. And I think that kind of, once you get to my level too, a creative direction, you can get people where they need to go if you've sort of been there yourself. And you don't have to be perfect, but like not being afraid to dip your toes into other areas and learn things that are a little outside your purview, or how things come together. It helps you be a much more well-rounded designer, creative director, etc. Always be willing to, open to collaboration and feedback, and don't close yourself off there.